Now that your workbook's done, you need to print it out, take to a meeting, or have just for reference. Although Excel makes it very easy to simply print out a workbook, there's an assortment of settings and options that you can utilize to fine-tune the way your printout is formatted, and we're going to explore a lot of those in this lesson. To start out, let's just do a simple printing and preview without changing any settings. So to print, we can go to File and Print, and that'll bring up a little dialog that has a little print preview on the left-hand side. And I can scroll through that print preview and see how it'll look. I'm disconnected right now, but if I wasn't, I'd have my options of printers right here. And you see at the bottom left, I have options to print out as a PDF as well. So that's all we're going to look at right here. Let's hit Cancel. Now let's go and look at the print preview on the Layout tab in the print group. This print preview is a little more rich than the one we just saw. The default view is just going to show you the entire document, and if you have a mouse wheel, you can scroll down through it and see what the different pages will look like. A couple of other viewing options you have an elevator slider on the right where you can scroll up and down. Then over on the left-hand side, you have some different viewing options for the print preview. Click that drop down. Right now we've got content only. I can look at thumbnails as well, and that's going to show me a thumbnail for every page of my document so I can get right to it. The next view down here is a table of contents. We really have only one worksheet we're printing out at the current time, so it's only going to show us this one worksheet tab. Highlights and notes you can look at if you've put any of those in there, and a contact sheet. And this will just let us, again, another way similar to thumbnails, I can look at my different pages and quickly go to one if I need to look at it. I can zoom it in a little bit and zoom out. And that's about what we're going to look at on this print preview window. So let's go ahead and close that and continue on. Now when we were in the print preview, there are a few things that we might want to change when we print out. For example, we had 8 pages and we were really hoping to just have 4. The other thing that we had in the print preview is as you scrolled through, after page 1, you don't see the column headings anymore, so you don't know which column you're looking at on subsequent pages. We're going to start seeing how to change some of those options. Well, the first thing we should really do is set the print area, and that's going to be the area that Excel will process to print. Now typically Excel is going to make a guess for you, and it's going to try to print everything on your worksheet. If you want to select a group of cells that's different from what Excel selected, we can simply set that print area ourselves. Let's go ahead and select A1 through J10. Now that those are selected, we want to set our print area. So let's go back to our File menu, go down to the Print Area submenu, and we're going to set the print area. Now let's look at a print preview to see what that did. Sure enough, we're only printing the first 10 rows now. So let's reset that print area. Let's go ahead and click on any cell in our worksheet and hit Control-A to do a Select All. Then we go back to the File and Print Area and set the print area. And now we're back to printing the entire document. This is pretty straightforward, just a couple of points to note. If you don't set a specific print area, again, Excel is going to try to print all the cells on the active worksheet that have data. And the second point is, an Excel worksheet can only have one print area at a time, so you can't set up multiple different print areas. Now let's talk about setting up some print titles. Now print titles are pretty much like a freeze pane for a printout. They enable you to set columns and rows that will repeat themselves at the top of every page of a printout or on the left side of every printout. These are absolutely a must when printing out large tables of information that span multiple pages. So when you get to page 2, 3, 4 or beyond, you still know the name of the column that you're looking at in the printout. Let's start by looking at our print preview again. Let's go to Layout and Preview. You see on the first page, see how I have the IDs down the left-hand side and the headers across the top. Well, on our second page, we don't have headers across the top anymore. They're gone. And as I scroll down, you see that's still the case. You don't have any of the headers. Now, here's another thing. Because we've got so much data, we're printing also to the right. So now I've got another section of data, which this is actually the first 20 rows or so again, but it's the columns to the right of the main data, so they weren't able to print out because of our page size. It'd be nice if we had that ID field on the left so we knew which item we were looking at. And it gets even worse as I go down here and lose the column headings and the row heading. That's what we'd like to set up with the titles at the top of our page headings. So from the Layout tab, simply click on Repeat Titles. And now what you have here is Print Titles. Now our first choice is rows to repeat at the top. Click in here, and then just click on the 1 for the row to repeat at the top. Then for columns to repeat at the left, put your cursor in there. And go over and select the first column. Now I will say that you can do multiple columns. You can click and drag over so I could repeat A through C on the left hand side, or multiple rows at the top. But for this example we just need to keep it simple and have the first column. And then we'll go ahead and click OK. And let's look at our preview again. Now we've got all the IDs down the left and the header across the top. That's just on page 1. Let's see what happens on page 2. See, the header row is still repeated on the next page, so now we can see exactly what we're looking at. As we go down to that case where we get past the end of our data and it's printing out more columns, you see now how the ID column is replicated in the next several pages of printouts. So that's how you set the print titles up in Excel.